All right, good evening, Inspire Beauty. Happy Monday. It is April 10th, so we're getting close to midway through the month. And so I hope that you're keeping your goals in the forefront of all of your daily behaviors and actions. Not beating yourself up if they aren't in the forefront, but using those goals as motivation to excel yourself, your self-care, your mindset, and your business ultimately forward. So I'm excited tonight to talk about duplication. And before I even split the screen and share it with you guys and go into the PowerPoint, I want to talk to you about the gut check that I had. Charlie called me at lunchtime today and he's like, "What are you doing?" And I was like, I'm sorry, I'm pacing the room right now because I started researching and getting everything ready for tonight, getting all the content set for you guys. And I realized as I was doing my own research that I had to do a little gut check on duplication and systems. And I learned so much today and got like so on fire about a lot of things. But I had to really dig deep and say, wait a second, where am I falling short in all of this? And how can I help you guys better? So I'm like super pumped for tonight because there's just so much good stuff that I'm going to teach you guys, but there's also really great stuff coming down the pipeline because of this. So I'm going to go ahead and share our screen. Get the PowerPoint up in front of you guys. Okay, so tonight it's all about duplicating success. And I want to start by talking about cake making. So duplicating success, it's like baking a cake, guys. And the reality is if I asked you right now, and you can comment with them, you can type them in the comments, what ingredients do you need to make a cake? If I asked you right now, make a cake, would you be able to name off some ingredients for me? So type them in the comments. I want to hear what you think you need to make a cake. While you type that, I'm going to grab my water because I left it on the other side. Okay, we got some comments coming in. Flour, eggs, milk, butter, frosting. Okay. Flour, sugar, eggs. Anything else? I'd find the recipe after I Googled it. Yeah, I know, right? So crazy. Yeah, absolutely. So most of the ingredients you guys got. Okay, so let me take it up another notch. You need the flour, you need the eggs, you need your milk, you need your butter, you need your frosting. We probably want a little vanilla extract or some sugar in there, guys. You're making a really savory cake on me. But once you get all that stuff, guys, how much of it do you need? What timing do you do? What order do you put it in? So we've got the ingredients down, but I'm making vegan cake. I don't need eggs. I love it. We've got the stuff down that we need, and we can get all the stuff, guys. And so equate this to your resources. I can plug you into the resource page. You have all the resources from Beachbody at your fingertips, and you have access to all that great stuff. But if you don't know the right order to put it in, if you don't know the right like percentages or quantities or amounts to give of each little area of the business, of your ingredients, then your cake isn't going to turn out very great, AKA your business. So if we aren't giving not only the ingredients, but the actual recipe for success, there's no way that we're going to have a great turnout in our business. Now, think about it. Recipes are handed down from generation to generation to generation. You might make a couple tweaks here and there, but this is what our business is about. It's about finding that recipe for success and then passing it off. And the thing is, I don't actually create most of the recipes for success that I pass off to you guys. Most of the recipes for success that I create and that I encourage you to duplicate come from Beachbody Corporate, or they come from my upline, or they just simply come from my experience and then I've made tweaks along the way. But the recipe, for the most part, guys, I haven't really reinvented. I just might make a couple of tweaks here and there. Now, we all know about boxed cake mixes, right? Like if I went and bought an already made cake mix, that would make it really easy for you, wouldn't it? Like if I brought you a big box of vanilla cake mix and said, okay, now how do you make a cake? You'd be like, well, it's all here. I got it all in front of me. That box of cake is like Coach Basics. That's like Inspire Beauty, Rock the Basics. That's like the Girl Boss Boot Camp. That is like your essentials, that box of cake mix. That box of cake mix can't be messed up. Like you really can't mess it up as long as you take action you're probably not going to mess up that cake. It's going to turn out just fine because everything is there for you. And so I hope you understand, most of you guys, I'm certain if you're on this call, have undergone the Girl Boss Boot Camp at some point, and you've undergone Coach Basics, or Rock the Basics as we like to call it in Inspire Beauty. And that right there is your pre-made cake mix. Those are your ingredients for success. So tonight, there's going to be some gut check moments, I'm sure for you, because there were for me, where you're going to have to kind of think to yourself, am I taking the the work was already put in. Someone in a factory already did it for me, right? Like it's already in one box ready for me to just take action on. Are you doing that with your business? Or are you trying to reinvent the wheel and create a business based off of what you think you should do rather than what has already been done in a lineage of success prior to you? And I'm not even talking about my success, guys. I'm talking about all the way from the very top, okay? So our goals for tonight, I want to tell you just kind of what's on my heart in terms of what I expect us to kind of learn. I'm challenging you guys tonight to reflect inward. So we're going to get to that first. I want to show you guys the importance of duplication. Not only for you to follow duplication from me, but you must pass the baton and duplicate, encourage duplication, share, teach, educate those who come after you, right? Understanding the progression of leading a team, you guys, and pinpointing and creating systems that must be in place for duplication. This is where I had a big gut check for myself tonight. I can't wait till we get to that. So let's take a moment first and look inward. And I'm going to ask a lot of really hard questions, and I'm asking them because I ask them of myself, and I don't ask them to offend anyone. I ask them simply so that you can be the best version of you on this team that you could possibly be. So the first question is, are your actions praiseworthy of being duplicated? So think about it. If you had a team of coaches, would your actions be praiseworthy of duplicating? Is what you're doing something that you would want them to duplicate also? Maybe in some areas, yes. Maybe in some areas, no. If your team did exactly what you did today in terms of Beachbody business, right? So our 4 vital behaviors, inviting, proof of the product, personal development, shouting people out and recognizing people for their success, and then our income producing activities like inviting people and running ongoing challenge groups, connecting with people and inviting them to become coaches on our team. If your team did what you did today, would they move forward? And so that's a big gut check. Like when I wrote that question down, I had to think that of myself. I feel confident today, I can speak for myself today, that today I believe that if every single one of you on Inspire Beauty did exactly what I did today, our team would be unstoppable. I firmly believe that. I absolutely believe that. And so I want you to ask that of yourself. Even if you don't have a downline just yet on your personal team, would the other teammates on Inspire Beauty, if they duplicated what you did, would our team be moving forward? Ask yourself, how can I be the kind of coach I want my team to be? So there's an interesting exercise. We're not going to do it tonight because of a little lack of time, but I will potentially post that on the team later this week. But writing down 10 words of the ultimate dream coach that you would want to sign up with us on our team. What would that person be like, right? Maybe driven is one of the words that would characterize them. Maybe go-getter. Maybe you want somebody who's kind and generous. Maybe you want somebody with a servant heart or a leader, somebody who loves to help. Whatever person you would love to have on your team, the thing is, after you list all those words, can you say that you're being all those words as well? So are you the kind of coach that you would want other people to be? And what does your attitude attract? Sometimes my attitude is not attracting good things. Sometimes I have a really stinky, crappy attitude. And I know through personal development that the more I can get out of my own way, the better off I am. So I have to do gut checks every once in a while, and I have to look inward, and I have to say, Brittany, what is this helping to promote you, or is your attitude taking you away from what you ultimately want, right? Making excuses or being a victim of things. And guys, we all have our bad days and we all have our down times, but making habits out of making excuses and making habits out of being a victim in situations, or making habits out of feeling helpless, and not kind of problem solving on your own, those attitudes are not going to attract what you really want. They're going to attract like attracts like. So you're going to get what you're putting out. So if you're putting out excuses, don't be surprised when you get back people who are giving you excuses about why they can't join your challenge group. If you're putting out a victim mentality or a helpless mentality, don't be surprised when coaches on your team act helpless or don't feel like they can problem solve on their own, right? Because you need to attract that type of behavior. Also, guys, people want to believe that they can do what you're doing. So think about it. There are some really shiny coaches out there that I watch their business, and it doesn't look like I could ever do what they're doing, because they have these really fancy videos and they have these really fancy websites and they have this like really fancy briefcase. I don't know, like they have stuff that I'm like, that's like above me, right? Like that's fancier than I am. So the type of people that I'm attracting, I want them to believe that they can do what I'm doing. I want somebody to look at me. I don't want somebody to look at me and say, oh, I could never do what she does. That to me, I don't want that. I want people to look at my Facebook and be inspired by it and then believe that, you know what? She just posts on social media and she just encourages people in these challenge groups. I mean, I could do that too. I want people to believe that they can do what I'm doing. So sometimes, and I'm victim of this, when I first started my business, guys, within my first like year and a half, I decided that I was going to sell t-shirts and tank tops. And some of you might know this about me. Some of you might not know this at all. This might be news to you. I decided that I was going to make a clothing line for Run to Your Happy Place because this was important for my business. I would not be a successful Beachbody coach if I did not have a clothing line on my website. And this was so important for me. And instead of inviting people to my team and inviting people to challenge groups, I wanted people to buy tank tops from me. And ultimately, guys, my tank top, t-shirt, sweatpant business, not successful, put me in debt probably about $6,000. I'm shitting you not right now. And I apologize for cussing, but like, it is for real. Like when you're sitting here like, oh, but she does, like, no, stop with the fancy crap, because I've been down that road before. I wanted people to think I had this like business that I didn't really have. And because of that, I put myself in debt. And because of that, I didn't do vital behaviors for so long that it felt like I was climbing up a mountain to catch back up. And so instead of just letting people believe that they could do what I was doing, I tried to be this like elite thing that I wasn't. And so it doesn't work, guys. It really doesn't work. When you get to that level, you'll get to that level. But in the meantime, connect with people who are on your level, who can have belief in what you do. The important thing to understand is after tonight, guys, you can duplicate this business to replicate anyone else in the network, but you have to have the self-drive to do it. So again, just like that cake, I can hand you the box of cake mix and I can get out all of the bowls and the mixer, and I can preheat your freaking oven for you. I can do all of those things. But if you don't actually open the box, pour out the mix, read the directions, and get it in the oven and wait, you're never going to have that cake. So you've got to have the self-drive and the action necessary to do it. And just remember, I want you to remember this as we talk tonight, because success looks different on everyone, and everyone on this call tonight, your version and your idea of success at your point in your business, at your point in your life, on your health journey, in your mindset journey, whatever it is for you, your success looks different. So I don't want my call tonight to dictate what your success is supposed to be for you. I also don't want you to think that success is above you and that things that other people consider success you could never do, right? So in both ways, I want you to think through that. So let's do a little self-evaluation. I know we already asked a couple questions, but this is kind of that inward-looking moment. And this is something I really want to do more with our coaches on our team when we're having calls, rather than just dumping a load of, this is what's not working and this is what, and I'm frustrated and I have no answers and I don't know what to do and I just want to quit. Instead of that, it's important that we have some self-evaluation and a little reflection on what it is that we're doing, because ultimately, not everything that we do is terrible. So we want to always look at what we're doing that's working. Like, wow, that post I did the other day really worked. Was it the time of day that I did it? Was it the content I shared? Was it the picture? What it looked like in the photo that I used? What was it about that moment that worked? And maybe there were multiple reasons why. Maybe there was one defining factor, whatever that is. But looking at what's working. Okay, I had a really great free group. That was awesome. We crushed it. What worked about that? And let me keep doing that, right? That's how we get better. And then you look at what you're doing that's not working. So ultimately, this one always usually typically goes on the forefront, that I want to, this is not working. It's just not working. I don't know what to do. But we've got to step back first and look at what is working, and then contemplate what maybe is not working for you. And remember that you are the CEO of your own business right now, and you have the power to change it. So if something isn't working in your business, you guys, change it, fix it, okay? What behaviors are successful? So when you work and you sit down every day, what behaviors have ultimately led to your success? Maybe you hit Success Club 1 month, like, 2 months ago you hit Success Club. And then after that you started struggling. Well, what did you do 2 months ago that allowed you to hit Success Club? Maybe you rank advanced to Emerald, but then you dropped. Well, what behaviors did you do at that time that allowed you to get to Emerald? And what are you maybe not doing right now that's not causing your business to move forward? All of these factors, right? So thinking about moments of success in your business, when I was very successful, I sold my first challenge pack, or I did this, or I did that. And what were you doing, actively doing, that caused that? What choices are you making that are bringing good results in your life, just in your life in general? So good choices like not hitting snooze 7,000 times like I love to. Good choices, not staying up too late, not drinking too much, because then the next morning it's hard to get your workout in and now your business suffers because of it. These are, and I'm rattling off all things that I've had to overcome and deal with in my business and still overcome and deal with. What other choices am I making? Deciding to turn the TV off and listen to personal development or read my personal development, because I know that that's going to advance my mind rather than the mind numbing television that I put on. What choices are you making that are bringing good results? Making sure that I'm not, eating crap all the time, and that I'm really meal planning and that I'm sharing that. Okay, so just go through, and we're all adults, so it's really crucial. That's the coolest part about this journey, is that as I grew as a coach, as I grew as a person, I grew as a coach, because I started looking at the choices in my life that were either serving me and ultimately my business and my dreams versus the ones that weren't. What personal development aha moments am I having? So I really like this one because and I talked on the team page today about this, that it's really easy, guys, and I love y'all to death, but I can tell who's reading personal development and I can tell who's not, because your attitude changes. And I know you know it. I'm sure you see it even in yourself. And so I can tell when people are pouring into growing their minds versus when they're not, okay? Because everything changes. But whenever you find yourself struggling, dive into personal development and figure out what ahas you're having. Like, oh, I didn't think of it that way. Bring yourself back. And this is a great one. Tell me what you're learning. So these are questions I want to start asking in one-on-one calls with you guys. Is I want to ask these questions to you. So when you come to me with frustration or trouble or a problem, I want to counter that to you with, what are you doing that's working? Okay, talk to me about what you're doing that's not working. When were you successful in that area, and what were you doing to be successful? What choices are you making right now that are bringing good results into your life? What personal development ahas are you having? And then tell me what you're learning right now in your business. And if I feel like if I ask those questions of you guys, that you're going to start becoming leaders, right? And that's what I ultimately want you to grow into, is leaders, because we all have the capability to become a leader. Plant seeds, harvest them, and then create duplication. I think in our business, and on our team especially, I feel the energy from you guys in this way, is that for the most part, we're getting comfortable planting seeds and getting on social media and sharing our journey with other people. And we're getting comfortable harvesting those seeds, where we take people under our wing and we encourage them and we help them on their journeys. And I think we get comfortable in that. But there's a disconnect between that and then the process of duplicating it. Do you have people duplicating the behaviors you're doing? And if you don't, then you've got to ask yourself, why not? And again, this is a question I have to ask myself all the time. Are people on our team duplicating the behaviors that I'm doing? Well, if they're not, what can I do to change that? How can I help them to duplicate that? Same thing in the challenge groups. I know a lot of times our coaches say, I'm really worried about somebody not talking in the group, like people just going away and not speaking and it being quiet, or I'm just concerned about that, not having enough people and it just being too quiet. Well, you've got to create duplication for what you want them to do. they've got to see that you're doing it and that you pull that out of them, right? It starts with us. So let's talk about the duplication. Let's talk through about becoming a leader. So as we're becoming a leader, the first thing we must do is work on our head. And the coolest thing is no one can control what's going on in your head. Isn't that really cool? It's kind of freeing a little bit because there's so much stuff that we can't control in our lives and in our day-to-day, but we can control what's happening in our mind. And so working on your mindset is huge in this business. The next thing is then, after you start working on what's going on in your head, you start leading yourself. Are you, like I said, are the behaviors you're doing and choosing to take in your life causing you to advance? If you can say yes to that, then you're leading yourself. Are you getting more disciplined? Are you finding more motivation on your own without having to like drag yourself, off the couch? You're leading yourself. Are you making better choices? Then once you start and you're comfortable leading yourself, then you can begin leading one person, just one. That's all you need to do to lead. You don't have to have 7,000 people behind you, just one. And then once you've led one, then it turns into smaller groups of people. And then it turns into a movement. And you've got to understand these 5 steps. They don't go like this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, check, 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 check. These steps all work together. So I'm not going to work on my head and then I lead a movement and I stop working on what's going on in my head. I constantly have to continue as I go down the ladder, right? Like as I go on to the next step, I have to continue implementing 1 as I do number 2. I've got to continue 1 and 2 as I do number 3. I've got to continue 1, 2, and 3 as I do number 4. This summer, when I was battling a lot with my depression and just didn't have a lot of answers and was in a really difficult place, it was really hard for me. There was no way I was leading a movement. And if you were a part of our team this summer, it was really difficult for me to lead our small group of people. It was really hard for me to lead even one. I could barely even lead myself out of bed. So what did I have to do? I had to go back to the drawing board. I had to work on what was going on in my head. Okay. And so anytime you start feeling down, guys, that doesn't mean that you give up on the one in the small group and the movement. That doesn't mean you give up on any of that or give up on yourself. It just means that maybe you've got to go back to square one and get back into what's going on between your ears. So why do we have systems? Systems, guys, save us time. You're going to see this in a second. Most people quit this business. As you start adding coaches to your team, which is my wish for you, it's that you'll notice that most people will quit this business because they waste a lot of time doing things that don't actually produce results. And we've gone over all that on our team page before, but so I'm sure you know like what those actions are. But the reality is people quit because it's frustrating. Well, I did all this time and now I'm not making any money. And I totally understand that. So this saves those people time. They won't quit because now instead of doing things that don't earn money or produce results, it's going to give them complete step list, checklist of things to do to produce the results if they continue implementing it. It also saves leaders time. It's going to save us time, guys, from having to repeat ourselves over and over and over again. That's why the resource page is where it's at. That's why Rock the Basics and Emerald Daily and Diamond Daily and your Girl Boss Bootcamp training are templates because they're duplicatable. All of you guys can plug your team into any of those trainings and they will get the same content that they would get from any other top training in the network. Systems take the guesswork out of things, you guys. So it's less time of thinking, what should I do? And more time to actually do it. Systems and duplication, though, do not mean copy and paste. So I don't want you to get this twisted that it's like a total copy and paste thing. You have all authority to make it your own, put your own flavor on it. That's like what we talk about when I give you guys script ideas for inviting people. Yeah, take this "Hey girl" message I sent, but if it doesn't sound like you in that one line, change that one line. If you don't use exclamation marks excessively like I do, then don't put all the exclamation marks in, right? You put your own flavor on it and speak to your personal avatar, lifer, or tribe, whatever you want to call them. Guys, success leaves clues, so we don't have to reinvent the wheel. So now your question's probably like, okay, but what do I duplicate? So let's talk about PB&J. I'm going to go back to having you guys type for me for a second. How do I make a peanut butter and jelly sandwich? Comment in this. How do I make a peanut butter and jelly sandwich? And from like the long pause, I love this, Kaylee. I knew it. I knew it. This is so good. From the long pause, I knew you guys were like already in my head. One, get out 2 pieces of bread, peanut butter, jelly, and a knife. I love how Kaylee's going through the checklist. She's in my mind. Michelle, take out bread, peanut butter or almond butter. Yes, I've got to be, correct here. On it, throw jelly and garbage. You're so funny. Add sliced banana if you want, put bread together and grab potato chips. Yes. So this is so important. We did this exercise when I was in middle school. So this was so long ago, but so long ago. But the reality is, most people are going to skip a lot of steps. When you ask them, how do you make peanut butter and jelly? Most people are going to tell you, yes, I love it. Haha, to the jelly. So most people are going to tell you, grab some peanut butter, grab some jelly, put it on 2 pieces of bread, put it between 2 pieces of bread and put a piece of bread together and you're done, right? And they're going to skip the fact that you need a knife. Like when we first did this exercise in middle school, I remember my teacher put his hand like in the peanut butter and was like, because nobody said grab a knife. They said put the peanut butter on the bread. And so he's like, okay, and even as silly as like, the very first one was put the peanut butter on the bread, and he grabbed the jar of peanut butter and he like laid that jar on bread because it didn't say unscrew the cap, stick the knife in right? That whole thing. So obvious to you guys, the whole point of that exercise is that obvious to you, it's obvious how we make a peanut butter and jelly sandwich, right? Like, come on. But obvious to you may not be obvious to all. And it's important to remember that. And today, when I was even writing this, I was like, oh my gosh, it kills me because there's so many things in this business that are obvious to me. I'm like, obviously, like, duh. But who am I to decide what's obvious for everyone on our team? And so we've got to break it down. So what systems do you do mindlessly? I want you to start thinking through your week. Like, what are things you do mindlessly? And that's what you teach your team how to do and how to do well. One of the things I do very mindlessly is super mindlessly is plan out my week. And I realized that's got to be a system that I let you guys duplicate, how I plan out my week. I do it every week mindlessly. Why am I not sharing that? Hold on, let me look at the chat. Ironically, as we were on this call, my boyfriend just asked me why we don't have any jelly for a sandwich. That's so funny. Because I threw it away, boo-boo. The thing is, when you create systems for duplication, you're taking away the what ifs, because imagine, it is scary, but imagine if we have a template for how to invite people, and guess what we do? Beachbody's Coach Resource Training Center online in your Coach Online office, there are templates for how to invite people and how to take them through that process. We are going to craft them for Inspire Beauty in our own kind of lingo and language and take that guesswork out, but you have to take away the what ifs. So if somebody's like, well, you told me to send this hey girl message and then they never responded, well, now what, right? Now what do I do? You got to break it down. We've got to take away the what ifs. Okay, I sent this hey girl message and then they asked me how much Shakeology costs. What do I do? Okay, well now this is what I would say to them, right? And so we've got to break it down so we get rid of the what ifs. And I'm going to rush because I really, really, really want to show you guys these documents, and we got 8 minutes. So here's my list, and I exhausted myself creating this list, but I know that there's much more systems that we could work on. So if you think of any that I have not, I either want you to bring it to the team page, or if we're still on here, you can type it in the chat. But the very first one, getting a new coach started right, okay? And again, all these systems, for the most part, are in your online office, but I also want to create systems within Inspire Beauty so that you guys have them, your downline has them once you sign a new coach, and you guys can just continue to, like, it's like multiplying rabbits. Think about it, right? So how to get a new coach started right, how to run a getting started right Zoom. So that's something I do. I get on a Zoom with our new coaches. Whenever somebody signs up for Inspire Beauty, we plan a getting started right Zoom. But I haven't taught you guys how to do that. So how the heck are you going to do your getting started right Zoom if I haven't taught you that? So these are gut checks for me. Again, running free groups. Now I've done webinars on these things, guys. I've done Zoom calls for you guys on these, but I haven't broken it down into like a checklist that you can just print off when you're getting ready to run your free group and then do. Running challenge groups, planning out the month, we've kind of talked about this on our team page a little bit, how I go through that in the process, but I want to make a document that we could easily just share. How to plan out your week, how to set goals, how to invite, how to start, run, plan a blog, how to create, plan, and grow a newsletter, how to run. Yep. See, I was like just going, how to do run, how to run. That should be run. Let me just, yeah, that's not good. Okay, how to run an efficient power hour, rank advancement, how to advance and rank, and all that stuff, and how to run team training Zooms. Guys, our team has a ceiling right now, and it's humbling for me to understand this, because I plan the Zooms for us every month. I plan what trainings I think you guys need and I think you would benefit from, and then I run them. And I'm trying really hard to find people to guest host on our team Zooms. But the reality is, if I'm not training you guys how to run Zooms, then I have a ceiling here on our team. Then you'll never run team training Zooms. And so I want to start experimenting with teaching you guys how to run Zooms, how I do it. How do I do this each week? And how do I rip off the Band-Aid? And even though I mess up and I stumble and Frankie's digging on my couch right now and tearing up the pillows, like, how do I continue talking despite all that? And just how to do that so that you can continue doing that for our team. So I got 5 minutes. I really want to show you guys these documents that I started, and I'm going to continue making more. Let's do the first one. Get out of my way thing. Okay, this thing, I need to like slide my screen down. You're killing me, computer. There we go. Okay, patience. All right, so here's the first. Oh, this is the Zoom. I don't want to do that one just yet. Okay, so here's a checklist. Can you guys see it? Thumbs up when I switch. Cool, thank you. Getting a new Inspire Beauty coach started. Right, so here's a checklist that I created, and I'm just gonna kind of show it. And again, this is gonna be an editable document that it's organic. So as we change and evolve, it can change and evolve. And also, if you see something that you're like, Brittany, you missed this step, absolutely, like, I want to hear it. So once they've signed up, create a fun graphic that says welcome blank. Like, I'm like breaking it down. I like to use word swag to create it, and breaking this down. Don't forget to tag them on your personal social media. Add them into Inspire Beauty. So this is something that when like you sign up a new coach, you can print this off and you can go through the checklist to make sure you've done everything that your fellow teammates, and not just like do it because Brittany did it. Like, I don't want you to think of this Zoom that way at all. These are things that I've learned from top coaches that I do that have allowed me to be successful, that I want to pass down to you guys so that I'm not just holding it in selfishly. Add them into Inspire Beauty and shout them out there. Then I send them a welcome email number 1. If you're a coach on our team, I'm certain at some point you got welcome email number 1. Now that welcome email is also in the files section, but again, duplicate it. Once they respond, send them welcome email number 2. So a new coach, I do not respond to them. I do not move on in anything in their progression until they respond to me. Then they get welcome email number 2. And so I put a pro tip. If they don't respond, kindly follow up and ask if they got the email and when they have a chance to look at it and get back to you. And then once they respond to the second email, add them into the Girl Boss Bootcamp to begin their training. Interact and comment on their takeaways there. Once they complete the final lesson, create another graphic and shout them out. Set up a getting started right Zoom, okay, or FaceTime. It's important to see each other's face in this business. Don't be scared. So then there's this document here that I'll take you over to. So then I created a document of, this is the template that I send to the coaches for a getting started right Zoom. So I want them to answer these questions: what they're most excited to do as a coach, what's their why, how many hours. Some of you are like, I've already answered this for you, Brittany. We did this together. And now I want to pass it on to you so that you can, it makes your business just run like clockwork, right? It takes away the like scrambling, like, okay, wait, I just signed up a coach. What the heck do I freaking do, right? Like, you already have the answers in front of you and the tools. And you just take them through this, okay? Okay, we got about 2 minutes. And then going through when you get on the call, what to do when you get on the call with the document, determining their next steps for them in terms of rock the basics, running a free group, challenge group, attending Coach Summit or Super Saturday, getting on National Wake Up Call and team trainings, rank advancement, etc. And then setting up the next call to keep moving forward. Okay. And then that's the other thing. As you get your coaches started right, if you are plugging them into Rock the Basics, by all means, you will request to add them into Rock the Basics. but also add yourself into Rock the Basics so that you can co-host it with me and encourage them in that group so that there's not a disconnect there, right? And then I made a free group one that I started. I'm still kind of going through it, but picking the theme, preparing for success, and it's a checklist. And I'm going to continue going through, but this is where, let me stop share now. This is where you guys are, you know, like you're my support system, you're my backbone, you are my foundation, that you can go through and you can see, okay, Brittany, we forgot this one step, right? And so these are all things that I'm going to share with you on the team page throughout the week. Michelle, you'll have access to all of them. I'm going to put them on the team page throughout the week. And I want you guys to truly go through them with a constructive feedback mindset at first, so that in case I'm missing something, we can definitely put it back in before people are really getting their hands on these. And then they'll always be in the resource page and all that stuff so we can pass it down. So I made it. I hope that this doesn't click off. I'm not going to forget our picture tonight. So everybody smile first. Oh, wait. Stop clicking at me, computer. You're annoying. Oh, really? For real? Why is it clicking at me? Escape something. Okay. Okay, for real. That's it. I got a cell phone. I will take a picture of my stinking cell phone before it kicks us off. Guys, I'm so sorry that I'm cutting this right to the end. Let's smile really quick. Okay, cool. Sorry I'm cutting this to the very end, but I'm going to put this up on the page. But tonight I'm going to shout you guys out and tell me your takeaways, ask me your questions, give me your feedback. I'd love to hear it. Thank you guys so much for joining me Monday night. I love you all. Have a great week.